beautiful soul. Welcome to the Quantum Business Queen podcast. This podcast is a vortex for activating wealth, riches, and boss bitches. It is here that I teach multi-dimensional business. Our content will fall under 3 different categories: 5D quantum creation, 4D frequency alchemy, and the most potent 3D strategy. Every aspect of business that contributes to the creation of success is covered here. Plus, I will be personally interviewing the most amazing boss bitches that are at the forefront of the game, paving the way for money, magic, and magnetism in business. Let's get ready to activate all of that within you. So for those of you who are here with us now, and then I know there's going to be a ton of people on the replay. So Joe is the founder of the Crypto Consulting Institute and has made millions of dollars in crypto investments and has helped so many other people around the world make millions in would you say up into 8 figures with crypto?
Yeah, 56 million recorded client profits that we've had to date. And that's the only recorded ones. I'm sure there's a ton more. Because the thing about crypto, it can be quite a private arena where people don't want to share because you've got full ownership and it's transparent, but it's not.
Okay.
As in no one knows who's actually holding it. So, there's a ton of investors who are quite private, which is great. Yeah. So I reckon it's probably over the 100 mil mark, realistically.
That you've helped.
Yeah, I reckon 100 million. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
That's incredible. And how long have you been doing this for again?
8 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Joe knows a thing or two about crypto, safe to say. And, I remember when you and Martin first started kind of dabbling in it. And this was, how many years ago was that? That would have been 8.
The first time I kind of came across crypto and started dabbling was actually 2014.
Yeah.
And then in late 2016 is when I started getting into it a lot more.
Yeah.
And then obviously 2017 happened. So, and the rest is history.
Okay. So Joe, can you walk us through, so for people who don't know anything about crypto, so this is your audience, right? They're just learning. Yeah. They want to know more. Can you take us through what crypto is and where you see it headed and how people could start investing and where you think the smart plays are? I'll let you have the floor, but for people who don't know hardly anything about crypto, tell us, explain as best you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I always keep things simple. I'm a simple person, and I think that's why our clients do so well, because they actually understand what I'm saying. Because I think with cryptocurrency, it can be a little bit of everything people don't understand about technology and money combined. And I think a lot of people have a certain mindset when coming into cryptocurrency of, oh God, this is overwhelming. Yeah. But exactly like you teach and everything that you do, it's everything comes down to your mindset. Yeah. And I'll touch more on mindset in a bit. But yeah, if we can really just shift even coming into this session and be like, do you know what? I'm not going to live by those thoughts that I have anymore, and I'm going to create new thoughts of, hey, I can get this. And honestly, if you saw the types of people that we've worked with, meaning from all different backgrounds, then you would be like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's exactly what you were saying in the mastermind session. It's that kind of point of reference that a 73-year-old retired builder turned, I think it was 180K into 1.3 million from his self-managed super fund. He didn't have enough really to retire on, and he invested in crypto, and now he's like Bali baby, So he's changed his lifestyle dramatically, and he had zero tech skill. He had to have his wife with him to help him. So it's just amazing to have such a broad range of people that we have, achieving incredible results. So in a nutshell, there's many different ways that you can explain crypto. I call it spiritual money. That's how I refer to crypto, because it is really and I don't want it to be like, oh, it's them and us, like against the traditional system, but the traditional system is controlled to benefit the top. That is proven. They print more money, it inflates everything, they benefit from that. It is like, it's just a game of Monopoly, but they're the ones that hold all the cards and they're rolling the dice too. So cryptocurrency was born on the back of 2008, which was where the markets completely over leveraged themselves. They were lending more money in the US than the debt to loan ratio was out of control. They were basically giving away money for free. And obviously that was at the end of a huge market run up that had been happening for multi years in the S&P 500, the main US stock market. They completely over-leveraged the system. They knew exactly what they were doing. Interest rates were zero, and then bang, what happened? Interest rates hiked through the roof. Market turns over. They have to do this to try and help control things. They know exactly what was up. This is not a game. This is all predetermined. They know exactly the liquidity cycles. Liquidity means money printing. If you go and look since 1971, there's literally a chart of how liquidity gets printed, then it gets sucked out the system. It gets printed, it gets sucked out, it gets printed, it gets sucked out. The US printed 80% of the entire monetary supply in 18 months on the back of COVID.
That's great.
That is not a game. The more you print, the more the value of that currency diminishes. And that's exactly what's happening with traditional currency. It continues to diminish over time. And that is why cryptocurrency is being born. A true currency that is built on code, is built with technology which cannot be changed. It's not like, oh, we're going to print more or we need to remove some out of the system. It doesn't happen like that. Code is law. I can trust data in a network that cannot be changed. I can't trust people, especially people who are they're manipulating everything, and that is very clear from their actions. And they make the whole monetary system so confusing that no one really understands it. There was an interview done by the guy who's the head of the monetary system in the US, and the lady said, "Can you explain the monetary system to us?" And he couldn't do it. I'm not even kidding. If you YouTube it after, it is actually wild. So, in short, this new wave of money, because money has many different forms. If you go back to the beginning times, it was shells. It was literally wheels on this island. It was all this crazy stuff. It was a barter system, right? And then we transitioned. I think the Chinese, maybe like 2000 AD, were the first guys that invented this kind of system of money holding value in coins, which actually were worth something because it was gold, because it was silver, because it was precious metals. It actually was worth something. And then what they did, they created these paper notes that literally say on them, it's like an IOU note. If you go and have a look at like a US dollar, it literally says IOU, in God willing we'll pay, or something just stupid. It is such a crazy system that we've been conditioned to believe that it is the only way. And then, amazingly enough, out of nowhere, Bitcoin gets released. Bitcoin is not the first form of digital currency. It is not the first form of digital currency. Digital currency has been around for years. I think 1995 was the first form of digital currency. It might have been DigiCash by a guy called David Chaum, who's actually created a cryptocurrency as well. But he was the early phase. Now, what the issue was with the early phase of digital currency was they didn't figure out basically the blockchain. They had crypto, but they didn't have blockchain. So what the blockchain does, it basically stamps every transaction that ever takes place into a public digital ledger. That record is there. It's like scraping a mark in a stone. That stone, the scrape in the stone is going to be there forever for everyone to see. And you can see the scrape in the stone. Everyone can see it. Everyone knows it's there. But the difference with cryptocurrency is you don't know who scraped the stone. Meaning you don't know who the wallet holder is. And that's part of the security where it's fully transparent, but it's also you're pseudonymous. meaning you're not fully anonymous because you can see you can see into the wallets, but you just can't see who the holder of the wallet is.
Amazing.
So that's where, like, it's just a complete shift. It's a paradigm shift away from control, giving us full ownership, giving us security, giving us the anonymity that we deserve. Like, the bank shouldn't have full public digital records of every transaction and be able to share that with whoever they choose to. Yeah. We should have full control, full ownership. It's the first time in history that we've been able to have full control of our own money.
Wow.
It is such a shift, a dynamic shift from what has been. So if you think back to the early inception of Bitcoin, it was tech geeks, coders, gamers, people selling drugs online. They were the early adopters of crypto. It wasn't finance people. Then when the Cypriot bank bail-in happened, which, by the way, pretty much every country in the world has passed bank bail-in laws. So what happened in Cyprus was the bank over-leveraged themselves, they lent out too much money, then all of a sudden there was challenges within the bank. So what did people do? They go, as you see, the bank from where everyone queues up to try and take their money out of the bank. Mm-hmm. But what happened with the bank bail-in? The bank took the people's money because they had the right to. So anyone that had a deposit over a certain amount, the bank literally went and said, right, we need to be bailed out. And within the laws that we have the ability to take your money. And I think, like, depending on how much you had in the bank, they were taking like 25, 50% of people's money. Imagine working your arse off, building a business, working hard, doing whatever you do, for them to then turn around and say, right, we're going to take that from you. It is wild. So what happened? Cypriot people started buying Bitcoin because they realized that this was a monetary system outside of traditional control. And that was where it caught my attention, because I studied economics and finance at university. I was heavily invested in the stock market. I was working for Robert Half, where I was going out to all these companies, learning about the finance side of things, and then investing in the companies that I was going to.
You never told me that.
Yeah. I was fully like asking them questions, prying around everything before I invested. And if I wanted to invest in a company, I'll go and find out. I'll literally go and sit with the CEO and ask them questions. Why not? Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. So then, 2014, I learned about cryptocurrency. That was the first time I got put on my radar. And then I heard about Silk Road and people buying and selling drugs and all this stuff online, and everyone was using Bitcoin to pay. And I was like, this is so interesting. And the first thing that I said to myself, I need to go and get a proper education. The same with working with Sarah. I've worked with Sarah on and off for years now. And what I do is I'm never high level. I don't do high level, because if you do anything like it's dip your toe, if you dip your toe in a pool, you get the cold sensation on maybe your toe. But if you dive into the pool head first, you get a full embodiment of that experience. Yeah. And if I do anything, I'm getting a full embodiment. I'm not dipping my toe into anything, and that's why I get the results that I do in everything that I do, because I play all out. So that's exactly what I did. I went and found someone to basically coach me in crypto, which was in 2014. I actually had him over my house for dinner. He's one of my best mates now, funnily enough, who lives about 20 minutes up the road from me in the Gold Coast. Yeah, so he ran sessions, and I went to see him in a session. There was 3 of us in the room. He was trying to do this talk like a seminar, and I just went question after question after question. And he was like, can I just finish the session? And I was like, yeah, I get it. And then I stayed with him for about 3 hours after, and it was just this moment of ultimate clarity.
Yeah.
That is the best way to say it. There was like the spiritual alignment. I've been doing spiritual work at that point. And I was just awakened is the best way to say it. And that's why I call crypto spiritual money. People get into crypto to make money. Unfortunately, a lot of us are coded or wired through marketing to have material desires. Like as one may, and there's nothing wrong with material desires, but people prioritize that over that spiritual side, their health and everything else through their actions, not words. It's easy to say, no, I don't. But then you go and look at what someone does and they spend 12 hours a day at work and it's like, well, go figure, right? So that was a very interesting awakening for me, and that really planted seeds. And then in 2016, it kind of got brought back on my radar, and that's when I was like, hey, this is what's up. And it just, for me, it was the moment that I doubled down. And fortunately, 2017 happened, and I was like, that's when I stopped working. I wasn't working at Robert Half through 2017. I was doing all the stuff with Martin, which was amazing because we had the time, we had the focus around it. And then I stopped working with Martin. I had a bit of time off, and then I was like, this is my calling. Mm-hmm. Exactly the same as Sarah. Like when I hear Sarah talk, it's just like my body glows because Sarah I call it channeling. Like it comes through you. When I talk about crypto, it comes through me. I don't have to be like, oh, what should I say and structure it. Don't do that. I just open my heart, and honestly, this energy just flows out of me. And that's what crypto has been. So people come to me for crypto, and then I take them down different paths with spiritual. Like I said yesterday, Sarah came and did a session with my clients yesterday, and it's amazing when people get it. People think they need strategies. They think they need this system, that system. What's the top picks? Where do I go for this? And you do. 100% you do. But that's like 10%. 90% is your spiritual endeavors, your psychological attachment to money, your relationship with money, how you interact with your money mindset when you're operating within the crypto space. And when you get that is the golden ticket to results.
That's amazing.
Because then you look at the charts and you look at things and it has a different vibrational state, a different meaning to you, and you just get it. But people that are constantly forcing the strategies from a place of lack, limited mindset, poor psychology, poor relationship with money, and they're like, why am I not getting results? Why the fuck do you think? It's like you're banging your head against a brick wall and I'm saying the door's there.
Yeah.
Like, just take a step back for a second, take a couple of deep breaths. But what we often do, again, it's all programming. So Sarah talks about programming, it's conditioning, programming, whatever you want to call it. We're conditioned, we're programmed. Go to school, go to uni or don't go to uni, get a job, whatever you do. Get married. Like it's such a conditioned system for thousands of years now. And when you start to shift and break out of that, and I'll give you the perfect example. One day this week, I made more in one day than I did in 12 months working at Robert Half. And I was on good money, 6 figures. I made more in one day through my crypto. And I'm probably going to make I reckon I'll probably do that again today based on a few investments that I've got that are just going crazy. Again, so twice in 1 week, I made more money than I did in a prior year's salary. And that is because I did not accept that I had to work for money. I always knew that there's a different way. I always knew that.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's crypto. Some people, it can be fucking anything. You could literally just put that thought out there and you could stumble across the welcome stranger in Ballarat like the guy did, which is like a 90-kilo golden nugget. Yeah. Like it's honestly, it's what you manifest. Crypto for me is so aligned spiritually to what I do and what I want to be a part of. That is why I double down in crypto. That is why it's probably about 65% now of my net wealth is in crypto.
Okay. I have so many questions. Oh my God. This is amazing, Joe. What do you say to people who feel like it's too late if they haven't started yet or
Okay. Great. Love that question.
Yeah.
Because if you ask me in 2017, it's a bit more difficult for me to be like, oh, well, these people are looking at it. These guys are looking at it. Now I can come with hard facts.
Okay, good. Yep. Love
Donald
that.
Trump, like him or not,
Yeah.
has been appointed as the US president. It is the best thing that could possibly happen for cryptocurrency because number one, he owns his own set of NFTs for Donald Trump. He has his own NFTs in crypto.
Yep.
On top of that, he is aggressive with building.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to enable printing, growth, everything. As soon as liquidity comes into the market, which now they're printing, is M2 monetary supply is what it's called, or you can look at the global monetary supply. When they print money, markets go up. S&P is at the all-time high. Bitcoin, as I'm literally watching the chart right now, is at its all-time high. Everything will flourish.
Yep. Yep.
Real estate, everything will go up.
Mm-hmm.
So he has said, which the mandate doesn't come out till early next year, they will make Bitcoin a US currency reserve. It will be a sovereign reserve asset for the United States. There are countries in the world right now that are making Bitcoin a sovereign currency right now. It is already happening. Venezuela are mining Bitcoin off volcanic energy. It is, I'll show you the list of countries that own Bitcoin. It is not even funny. These are companies, so there's 92 companies that currently own, and this is a race. There is a race right now to buy as much Bitcoin as possible.
Oh,
it is a race. There is nothing else, no other word to describe it. There's this company here, MicroStrategy, that owns $25.2 billion worth of Bitcoin, whose stock, let me just pull that stock up, MicroStrategy, whose stock has literally, from when they started getting into cryptocurrency in 2020, has gone up 2,365% in 1,500 days. So it's gone up it's almost gone up 2% a day.
Oh my God.
What did they do? They bought Bitcoin off their balance sheet. So as the business had cash reserves, they used their cash reserves to buy Bitcoin. And then what they did, as the value of the company continued to go up, they issued new debt and went and bought Bitcoin. And every time the value of the company went up, guess what they did? They issued new debt and they bought more Bitcoin. And they have written the playbook on this, and Michael Saylor is sharing this with everyone in the world right now. He is a spiritual guy. He's connected, same as Elon Musk, same as Richard Branson. These guys are playing on the fully aligned stratosphere. Mm. He knows what's up. Mm. That is why these guys, since when is this? Since the market bottom, what's this? 22nd of January 2024, this year, 561% their crypto's gone up. So coming back to this, Riot is a Bitcoin mining. Tesla, fourth largest holder of Bitcoin, 876 million. Coinbase, one of the largest exchanges in the world. A lot of these are crypto-related funds in here. DigitalX, Aussie, they're listed on the ASX. Stock exchange, 19.4 million worth of Bitcoin. But this is where it gets interesting. USA, 207,000 Bitcoin, $18.7 billion worth of Bitcoin. The USA hold $18.7 billion worth of Bitcoin. They hold nearly 1% of the entire supply of Bitcoin. Now go figure, because it wasn't that long ago that I'm pretty sure when Biden was in, he was all anti-crypto.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But somehow they own 1% of the supply.
How bizarre.
Now, Donald Trump has said they will not sell a single Bitcoin, and they will continue to add Bitcoin through as asset reserves.
Hmm.
So we're not playing with companies anymore.
Yeah.
And this is a different level playing field. Company financial reserves, country financial reserves.
Yeah. Different.
Who's the second largest holder? China. Who banned Bitcoin mining? China. So why is China the second largest holder of Bitcoin? Why has China been buying gold through the absolute hills? The UK, like the list of this is like just a fraction of what is about to happen. El Salvador, a country in such poverty that was held hostage to the US dollar, and every time the US dollar went up in strength, and every time they continued to print money, their currency devalued. So what did they do? They said, fuck this and fuck the US dollar. We're going on our own currency, and it's called Bitcoin. Ukraine. Why does Ukraine own $4.2 billion worth of Bitcoin? Bhutan, 1.2 billion. Like, it is just the start of something crazy. These countries, and this is only what's listed, there's more. This is just getting started. There's more that already have purchased that aren't listed. 47.7 billion, 2.5% of Bitcoin supply. These guys are not selling Bitcoin. These are not traders. These companies, they're not traders. They don't buy and sell Bitcoin. They buy with a long-term vision. Now, this is really going to take things to a different level.
Thank you so much for listening today, beautiful soul. I hope you got so much gold and were activated in such a way that you could step into your highest timeline of abundance and freedom, because it is more than possible for you. If that desire has been planted in your soul, it is so deliberate. If you wouldn't mind, please rate, review, subscribe to this podcast so that we can get this message into the hearts and ears of more amazing light beings across the world. I would love to continue this conversation with you, so feel free to get in touch on Instagram at sarah.tynan.quantumcoach. If you're a Facebook person, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Sarah Tynan International. And please don't ever forget, if your desire is there, it's because your destiny is there too. You just have to remember who you are. Bye for now, beautiful.